Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another portfolio update video. It's been a while. I haven't done this for about 2 weeks, but I just sometimes feel like if I did a portfolio update every single week, that sometimes there are weeks that not much really happens. So I just decided to wait it out for 2 weeks this time so that the portfolio, there's more to talk about and you're going to see some actual changes. So without further ado, let's get started. Our portfolio is now up to $191,000. Midway into Friday yesterday, I was up to 192, almost closing in on $193,000. But the market has kind of pulled back since then. So I wanted to start this video off by just looking at the swing trades that we're doing. So first, I just want to show you the swing trades that we recently have been making. So if I pull up my swing trade chart, December we had many transactions. I would say 20, 30 transactions, which aside from two which broke even, the rest were all greens and we made money off of them. The average monthly amount that we made was about $300. We made about $300 in December in terms of just swing trades, which doesn't sound like a lot, but actually, if you look at my videos last month, all of those swing trades, I was only investing $100, and each $100 investment that I was risking for the swing trade, I was making about 20 to $25 average. So we were actually doing pretty well. Now that we're into January, we've had about four trades so far, and those have all been wins. It feels very different from last month. Last month we had more transactions, but we made less profit on each. This month we're making more profit on each transaction, but we have fewer transactions. So just want to go through them first of all. So I eventually closed out PayPal to get a little heavier into SoFi, and I took that out with about an $18 profit, which wasn't a lot, but like I said, this was because I wanted to put the money and redistribute them into SoFi. Second one, we had Nvidia, which I opened back in November and I closed that out. And I'll tell you guys a little bit why I decided to close out Nvidia. But we did make about 142 dollars on that one. For Amazon, I also started this position in November and closed in January. We made a profit about $280. And lastly, Palantir, which I bought back just actually about a week ago, 11 days, if you count the weekends. Palantir we bought on January 6th, and then we sold just yesterday for about 78 to $80 profit. So yeah, just wanted to show you that before I jump back into the portfolio so that it kind of transitions to what kind of swing trades I'm currently in. So first update, my margin account, I finally sold out of AMD for my margin account. So currently the only position I have in my margin account is my BN, my Brookfield Corporation, which is down about just 1%. When I break even on that, I do plan to sell it. The reason is because I'm just closing my margin account right now. I feel like in terms of where I'm at in my situation, I'm not really looking to borrow any money on margin from Wealthsimple. So I'm probably just gonna close this out. I've already had already enough time playing around, experimenting with the margin account. I can see what it is and what value it provides, and just currently it's just not what I'm looking for. So once Brookfield breaks even, I'm just gonna transfer that money into my non-registered. All right. Looking at the non-registered account, things are going great. We are up all time $5,800, which might not seem like a lot, but if you actually look at the timeline here, we mostly actually started doing um, this portfolio challenge around end of December. Anything before that, I was in the negatives because I was doing options trading and sold strictly and entirely. But since about end of September until now, we've made about 58, $6,000, and we made up the loss that I made doing those options trading. So things are looking good. So yeah, I wanted to talk about why I sold out of first of all Nvidia. I sold out of Nvidia because first I did see some volatility in Nvidia. So once it got to about 148, I decided to sell that, and now I'm back in because now it's dropped back down. So this week, when Nvidia was at about 133, I bought back in. If you guys look at my previous videos, I had an average of 135 before. So coming back into Nvidia, I made that profit that you saw in my trade log, and we're actually back in with a lower price, which is great. Um, the second reason why I sold Nvidia and Amazon is because I'm actually moving more into I'm more interested in these 2x long. So basically, these stocks actually follow the stock that they're supposed to follow. For example, AMZZ. This follows Amazon, but it moves two times faster. So whatever profit you make on Amazon, you actually make two times that profit if you're, you know, investing in the right direction. So I'm going long on an Amazon. So as long as Amazon's stock price goes up, this AMZZ is going to give me two times the profit that I had in comparison than before when I had just a regular Amazon stock. What are the pros and cons of using these? Well, obviously it's more risky because it is 2x losses if you're wrong. And also you also cannot sell cover calls on these. So if I try to sell, you can see that I there's only the option to sell the stock. So those of you who are looking to do options, this might not be a good play. But look at this. I'm only up 3%, and I'm already, and that actually equates to about a $90 profit, which I think if I had my previous stock of Amazon before, I only be about like 40 or a little less. So I'm liking these new 2x stocks. That's why I closed those positions that you saw earlier. So I did that for Amazon that you just saw. I did it for Nvidia. So this NVDL is the ticker symbol for the 2x Nvidia ETF, and I'm up about 6% with only a $200 position because I only started a very small position this week. And I believe I did one more. Yes, AMD. So I sold out of my AMD. Actually, I think looking at my log, I even forgot to record AMD. But basically, I made a few $100s on that one as well. And I'm back into AMD, but AMD has pulled back since I sold at a good profit. So I am down 10% on that, but that's fine. I know my targets for this stock. Once AMD hits those targets, I'll be making a lot more money than currently what I'm losing right now. And I am going to plan to dollar cost average into AMD whenever it dips. So I do have a plan for this one. All right. Next, I'll show you guys the new swing trades that I just recently got into this week. So yes, I am back into Nike. As you can see, every time I'm back into Nike, I get my cost even lower. So in the previous videos, if you saw them, I was around like $75, and I sold them when it went up to about 80, $81. Now I'm back in at 71.07, and if it drops into 70, I will increase my position just because my position right now is still very, very small, $354. Um, the reason I'm buying Nike is because I think this stock absolutely cannot go down much more, even when they have bad earnings. We saw that the last earnings, right? Even in the 70s range, when it beat earnings, the stock went up $10, $15. But when the guidance was poor, it actually just only went back to what the stock price was before earnings happened. So this stock just cannot go much lower anymore. That's why I'm back in because I feel like that's my hedge on risk, right? Because there's not much lower to drop. That even if we have a few more bad earnings before the stock reverses and the business improves, that this is probably not going to go down too much. And if it does, my position right now is very small. I can just buy more. Another new position that I have for swing trade is Netflix. So when Netflix dropped to its lowest this week, just around when the CPI came out, I got right into it. I believe maybe Netflix was around 830, 840, maybe 850 around there. So I bought in with about $1,000 Canadian. At that time, I was kind of out of US dollars, so I decided to use Canadian dollars. I bought about 30 shares at $32.84 of the Canadian stock for Netflix, and currently I'm up to $33.48, which is about a $20 gain. But that's not the exciting thing. The exciting thing is next week, Netflix is going to report earnings. I mean, knock on wood, I believe it's going to go well. Obviously, with earnings, you can never, predict these things. It is a bit of a gamble, but I like how I've managed my risk with this new position, and I think the odds are with me on this one. So I am optimistic. All right, next one I'm going to be talking about is SoundHound. This is also a new position I got into. SoundHound, for those of you guys who haven't been really looking at the stock, and it's kind of hard to actually avoid because it's everywhere recently. SoundHound went all the way up to about $25 just not too long ago, December 27th, before now dropping to $13. I think a lot of people out there are going to show you the charts, show you that this is not looking really, really bullish. But charts are only one thing, and sometimes charts are wrong. Sometimes you do have to look at other pieces. In terms of what I know about SoundHound, and if you guys look at my previous videos, I've traded SoundHound multiple times. I actually feel pretty good about starting a position here in the 13s, which I currently have an average of, and only at $200, just because um, I do believe that there is this probability that it could drop more, at which if it happens, I'm going to just increase my position and buy more. If you guys look at SoundHound, it is part of the whole AI trend that's going on right now. It is sometimes quite moves in a direction that's very similar to Nvidia sometimes. So if those of you who believe in Nvidia, SoundHound is kind of in the ballpark since SoundHound is one of the companies that Nvidia has heavily invested into. So I'm liking in the 13s. If it drops to about the 10s and 9s, I'm going to be buying a lot more. All right. I think that about sums up the new swings that I'm in. Now I'm going to go into some of the old swings. First one is BBAI. So for the last couple of weeks or so, I did increase my position of BBAI to up to about $1,500, um, lowering my average price at 378. Yesterday on Friday, we saw a big jump before market opened, with BBAI hitting about 4.5, 4.4. And when I woke up and got onto the app, I did manage to sell a huge chunk of my position at about 4.39. So I am already making profit. But I haven't sold all my shares just because I am kind of this is you have to kind of learn when to be, ambitious and greedy and when to be fearful and conservative. I feel like moving into Trump's inauguration this coming week, although we might see some volatility, volatility also does swing up sometimes, right? And I do believe that maybe there is a fair chance that next week BBAI will swing up, and when it does, it'll swing higher than the 4.39 that I sold a third of my position on. So, with that sale on Friday, I moved my position, reduced it from 1,500 to $1,000, and I think if it hits 4.5 $5, I might be just selling it entirely out of that, and it'll be a nice big juicy profit that we're gonna see from BBAI. All right. Moving on, we're talking about some of the previous positions, more of the longer positions that I'm in. So the first one, Visa. Again, you see my videos before. Every time I, do a portfolio update, I'm always happy with Visa. We've averaged our price up to 297 just because I did buy a little more uh, Visa and increased my position even after the initial price that I bought in. So I'm up to 298.75, but the stock is up to 219, close to 319, close to 320. I'm up 7% with a $230 gain, and I couldn't be happier. And I just think it's going to keep going up as we get into earnings season. My next position and I'm very excited about this one. It's a very relatively new one. Is Uber. So end of last year, just before the we went into winter break, I did buy Uber at about $60 with about 100 $850 position. And currently it's Uber is up to $60 and $67.50. I'm up 12% with $100 gain. Loving it. Kind of wish I bought more back then, but with how much funds and how much limited US dollars I have, um, I only felt comfortable buying $800 at that point. Um, Next one, Google. Again, going really well. This is my very long-term position. I'm very bullish about Google for next, couple years. My average price is 170 and it's currently up 15%. So I have about $775 gain on that one. So loving it. SoFi, this one, I'm probably not planning to hold as long as, let's say, Google, but I'm still planning to hold this for multiple months, if not maybe a year or two. I do believe SoFi will be at the end of this year like a stock that's in its 20s. If you guys have looked into SoFi, its numbers have been going up and up and up. And also their CEO is actually not compensated like most CEOs. The CEO is only paid about $300,000 in salary, which is very, very low for a CEO salary. But most of his compensation is going to come in stock. And when he hits certain targets on SoFi stock, if SoFi stock increase to certain numbers, he will get big bonuses. So this CEO is not only very competent, Anthony Noto, but also he is under a contract which he is motivated to increase the price of SoFi. And I just love that. As an MBA, someone who has studied business, I think that is the recipe for success. And the business is good. It is. SoFi does have disruption potential in the fintech and financial industry. So I'm loving SoFi. But again, it is a volatile stock. So something that I won't be holding as long as Google, but still very excited about that one. My average for this one is 1522. Currently, it's up to 1658. My position was much bigger earlier this week when we had that huge dip with CPI report not coming out yet. I was probably up to about $4,000, but since this week, after the CPI was behind us, I did sell off some of my SoFi in the $16 range. So I've already made a bit of profit on it, but I'm just going to hold the rest of it for a little longer. Currently, I have a 8.44% positive return, which equates to about $256. All right, just want to make sure I covered everything. All right, just going to cover a few more before this video is going to be done. Tesla. I did eventually average my um, average price to $36.90. If you watch my previous videos, much lower than what I had before. Basically, I was buying as much as I could. If you look around here, when Tesla was around 375, 380, but I I actually wanted to buy more. I just couldn't because Tesla dropped at the worst time I could have imagined, at least for myself. When Tesla dropped, all my money was out. They were all invested in other stocks, and I couldn't buy as much as I wanted. I sold out of the Bitcoin and the crypto that I bought for myself as a Christmas present just to get more of Tesla. But I ended up staking my Ethereum, and then it took about like a week or two just to unstake my Ethereum. So I couldn't sell it in time. And now that my Ethereum is successfully unstaked, Tesla just ran up again, and I'm probably not buying at these levels. So my position in Tesla is not as big as I want. About $5,800. I'm up 5%, making about close to $300 Canadian. But I am also kicking myself because I didn't buy more when I'm supposed to. And I did slightly trim my Tesla when it did run up a bit this week after CPI. All right. So last couple points I'm gonna talk about before I end this video. I probably won't use this video to talk about my TFSA, just because there's so much content in that I don't want to make this video longer than it has to be. Looking into 2025, I think the long the big picture is always very important to me. Like in terms of what I do on a day to day, I'm looking at charts, I'm talking to people, I'm looking at fundamentals, but I always look at that after I look at the bigger picture. I think 2025 is going to be a year of volatility. We see with the Fed coming out and saying that they're not going to cut interest rates as much as I thought they were going to because the economy is strong. We had a strong job report, but it's still not confirmed yet. And I think the next couple of times that the Fed could potentially decide to make a decision on cutting rates, and that will be March and May. I think by June we have a pretty good idea. They're gonna have a pretty good idea of how much cuts we're gonna have. So we are looking at some potential high volatility in the coming months. So that's my point number one. Point number two, I don't think we're having a third year of a 20% gain in the market like we saw in 2024 and 2023. Last year, basically, any stock you bought, you probably would be making money. The chances of this happening this year is not likely. Um, but I mean, there's still a small chance, but we want to always be right with these things as much as we can, right? And if we want to be right here, that we cannot ignore the possibility that, that it will not be another 20% uh, per year growth. But having said all that, I do believe that 2025, it is a year to grow, to invest in the stock market. I think bonds, although interest rates are high right now, I'm still more interested in stocks right now. I think a 10% gain is what historically is likely. So and also with the drop that we saw in the market for the last month and the early ending of the Santa Claus rally, that the current market has priced in just, two interest rate cuts and no interest rate cuts. Sorry, the current market has priced in basically no interest rate cuts all the way up to, summer. So basically, the prices are much lower than what they were before Powell made that big announcement December 18th. So I do think that prices are a little bit I want to say I'm not gonna say that they're cheap. I said that they're not as inflated as they were back in December. Therefore, if we do get good news this year, that's also going to be great for our stocks this year. So I'm investing uh in the stock market this year, but I'm going to be more conservative than I was end of last year. And this is why I have piled so much money on the side. So, like I said earlier, trimming my SoFi, trimming my Tesla. Currently, I have on the side in my non-registered $4,000 Canadian and $3,000 US dollars because I'm expecting a couple of more points this year, and it could happen in the next few months where the market just drops, uh, up to about 10% drop. And when that happens, I'm going to be ready to buy the stocks that I believe the most in. If you're interested to find out more about, what stocks that I'm going to be buying when those do occur, please like, subscribe my YouTube, and also I do have a Patreon, which is dirt cheap. Only right now it's only $5 a month if you join right now for the early bird. And if you are a Patreon paid member, you will get access to my Discord with exclusive member content. Just a little information about that. During the last 2 weeks where I haven't been posting a video, that is where I spend most of my time there. This is a Discord where I tell people, what I'm swinging, what I'm selling, at what price. So you guys can see the announcements I made about Palantir this week and buying SoundHound. Also, just telling my members what was happening earlier this week with CPI and where the market is going. So if you are interested in joining this growing community, yeah, definitely subscribe to my Patreon and you'll get access to that. All right, so thank you for tuning in. I think before I go, I just want to say, I believe I'm optimistic that I am going to hit $200,000. I hope that the next video that I'm making for you guys in a week or two is me at $200,000. But If it doesn't happen next week or two, I do believe it's going to happen in the next couple months. My goal for 2025 is to hit $300,000 by the end of this year. Um, I feel that this $100,000 to $500,000 journey has been going pretty well so far, and I believe that we are making good pace, and that this challenge could be not only successful, but we're gonna reach the end of it in the next year or two. If you are interested and on board for the ride, I hope to see you in the next video and have a good weekend.